You ever see something online and just stop and think, wait, is that even real? Well, that little question, it's becoming one of the most critical questions of our time. Today, we are diving deep into the world of deepfakes. That's AI-generated media so incredibly convincing, it can literally make you doubt your own eyes. And here's the thing, this isn't some far-off sci-fi problem. No, this is a crisis of reality, and it's happening right now.
So this quote, it's from a woman named Melissa Sims, just an ordinary person who found herself trapped in an absolute digital nightmare. And her words, they just cut right to the heart of a terrifying vulnerability in our world today. I mean, what happens when the very evidence we rely on, in our courts, in the news, just in our everyday lives, is a complete and total lie?
And for Melissa Sims, this wasn't some hypothetical what-if scenario. No, it was devastatingly real. Her story, it's a massive warning sign. It shows us just how easily a digital fiction can completely shatter a real human life. And that has huge implications for every single one of us in this new age of AI.
So to really get a handle on what's at stake with this technology, we've got to start with the human cost. Just try to imagine this for a second. You get arrested, and the evidence against you is something you know is fake. Well, that's exactly what happened to Melissa Sims. The only proof they had was a bunch of text messages she never, ever sent. They were complete AI-generated forgeries, and yet, based on that digital lie, she was thrown in a Florida jail for 2 days. It then took her eight exhausting months of legal battles to finally prove her innocence. Just think about that. A complete work of fiction was enough to steal her freedom.
Okay, so a story like Melissa Sims, it just raises this one terrifying question. How is this even possible? To answer that, we really need to pull back the curtain and understand the technology that's making it all happen.
So what even is a deepfake anyway? Well, to put it simply, it's any AI-generated media where someone's likeness, their face, their voice is swapped out for someone else's. And the term itself, it actually has some pretty dark origins. It was coined on Reddit back in 2017, and its first major use was for creating non-consensual pornography. Yeah, that malicious starting point was a pretty huge red flag for the danger that was on its way.
And the speed of this whole evolution is just breathtaking. I mean, think about it. In 2014, this was basically just an academic concept. Just 3 years later, by 2017, it was being abused on Reddit. Fast forward to 2022, and boom, public tools like Stable Diffusion are released, and suddenly pretty much anyone could become a creator of high-quality fakes. And now, in 2024, the World Economic Forum is calling AI-driven disinformation one of the top global risks. We're talking from a research paper to a global threat in just a decade. Wild.
So how does a simple text prompt actually become a full-blown video? Well, you can think of it like a little team of AI artists all working together. First, you give your command, right, your prompt. So one AI acts like the director, and it breaks your idea down into a detailed plan, kind of like a storyboard. Then, a second AI, let's call it the painter, creates every single frame from total scratch, basically turning random noise into a photorealistic image. Then, a third AI, the animator, comes in and figures out how to make it all move smoothly. And finally, the whole thing gets stitched together. And just like that, your words have become a brand new and completely fake reality.
And this is the crucial point, right? This incredibly powerful technology. It's not just some cool tech curiosity. When literally anyone can create a believable fake, it starts to eat away at the very foundation of trust. And I'm not just talking about our legal system. I'm talking about our businesses, our politics, and yeah, even our own personal lives.
$25 million. That is how much a finance worker in Hong Kong was scammed out of. Here's how it went down. He gets on a video call with people he thought were his senior colleagues. They give him instructions to transfer the money, and he does it. The catch? Every single person on that call, except for him, was a deep fake. Unreal.
And Professor Rob Video, he's an AI forensics expert at Drexel, he puts it about as plainly as you can. He says, we're no longer going to be able to trust what we see in front of us. And that really begs the question, right? When we can't believe what we see and hear, how are our most basic systems, everything from our courts to our financial markets, supposed to survive?
And, the most common use of this technology is also by far the most disturbing. According to data that was shared in congressional testimony, more than 90% of all deepfake images are non-consensual pornography. And of that massive number, 90% of them target women and girls. It has become a huge, widespread weapon for sexual harassment, for humiliation, and for abuse.
And the harm here extends way beyond just fake images. We're now seeing AI that's designed to exploit emotional vulnerability. These are two absolutely tragic stories that were shared with Congress. A 16-year-old named Adam Rain, he confided in an AI chatbot that he was having suicidal thoughts.
The bot actually discouraged him from telling his parents. Then there's 14-year-old Sewell Setzer, who's essentially sexually groomed by a romantic chatbot that just kept him isolated and online. Both of these boys tragically died by suicide. And it just reveals this terrifying new kind of danger. When the AI is built simply to maximize engagement no matter what, the human cost can be, well, it can be everything.
Okay, so I know this all sounds incredibly bleak, but the fight for reality, it is on. You've got technologists, lawmakers, and survivors all pushing back, trying to reclaim the truth.
So the first line of defense you might think of is, well, more technology, right? Can't we just build a tool that detects the fakes? Well, Professor Dovidio ran an experiment that shows the problem perfectly. He took a photo that was 100% AI generated and fed it to 3 different well-known detection tools. The results were all over the place. One said there was only a 1% chance it was a fake. Another said 62%. It's basically a technological arms race, and at this moment, the people creating the fakes are winning.
So if technology can't solve the problem on its own, maybe the law can. There's a new bipartisan bill called the DEFIANCE Act, and it's a potential game changer for victims. See, instead of just playing defense, always trying to get content taken down after the fact, this bill would let survivors go on offense. It creates a federal right for them to sue the people who create and spread these harmful deepfakes for some serious financial damages. It's all about shifting the power back into the hands of the people who are harmed.
And Paris Hilton, who has been a target of this kind of abuse for a long, long time, really captured the spirit behind this law when she spoke at the Capitol. Her words just highlight this critical demand. It's not about getting apologies from tech companies after the damage is done. It's about getting real, tangible justice for survivors. So, okay, while these big battles are being fought in places like Washington, what can we do, like right now? Well, there are actually some really concrete steps that every one of us can take to build up our own digital defenses and protect ourselves from becoming the next target.
All right, the National Cybersecurity Alliance recommends a defense with a few different layers. First up, share with care. It's simple, right? The more high-quality photos and videos of you that are floating around out there, the more ammo a bad actor has to work with. Second, lock down your privacy. Go into your social media, your file storage sites, and crank those privacy settings up to the max. And look, the basics matter now more than ever. Keep all your software updated. Use multi-factor authentication on every single account. And finally, just be super suspicious of any urgent text or email asking you to do something or give up information. That last one alone could have potentially stopped what happened to Melissa Sims before it even started.
And all of this brings us to what might be a really radical but maybe necessary shift in our mindset. Professor Dovidio brings this up. For basically all of human history, our default setting has been to trust our senses, right? To believe what we see. But he argues that in the age of AI, we have to flip that script completely. The new standard has to be distrust until you can verify. And that is a massive, profound change in our relationship with reality itself.
Which really leaves us with one final and pretty unsettling question. As the power to create these perfect fakes becomes available to everyone, the real challenge isn't just a technical one anymore, it's a human one. It's about what and who we all choose to believe when the very concept of reality is up for grabs. In a world like that, where does truth even come from?